Hey everyone, welcome to May's Lug Life. I'm May. Welcome to the channel. Usually I will do reviews on lug products. Sometimes I'll compare things. Sometimes I'll do unboxings. Today is the comparison day. So I'm going to be talking about the two smallest wallets that Lug makes. They're very much the same in almost every way, but there are just enough differences that you might actually find one suits you better than the other, or will suit your needs better than the other, depending on what your needs are for that day. So I'm going to talk about the similarities first, and then I'll talk about the differences, and then I'll compare a few things, and I'll actually talk about how they work in real life as well. So today we are talking about the Handspring Mini. And this actually came kind of a set. There's the Handspring Mini, and they actually also came out with the Handspring. These are, I guess, companion products. They actually came out so that I guess you could have even bought the set. This is not necessarily the set, but they all had, so like there was a big one and a little one. They all had matching interiors and corresponding, or rather coordinating colors on the outside. So they were supposed to, I guess, come as a set, but that is the, well, it's not actually the set, but that is sort of what came out together. And the other one is the Minuet. So this is a slightly older one, and they just re-released new colors in this one. We all thought they were going to discontinue this one, but I think it kind of came back by popular demand, because it really is an amazing little wallet. I think it was very, very popular, and it was great that they finally came out with some new colors. So I'm going to talk about the similarities first, and then I'm going to talk about the differences. So the similarities, basically, as far as size goes, they're virtually the same. As far as the website, it actually says that they're the same width, same height, same thickness when they're empty. It looks a little bit different here because one's much more packed than the other. The Minuet, the top one, actually is more packed. I use the Minuet. I don't actually use the Handspring too often, the Mini Handspring too often, but the Minuet I use all the time, and it's actually completely packed with the stuff I use in it. So that's why it looks a little bit thicker here. And like I said, they're the same size as far as what they look like when they're empty, but these ones are a little bit packed today. So they're a little bit thicker than you probably would see them when you look at the website. If you want, I will actually put fact sheets at the very end of this video. So go to the end and see, you can actually see the exact measurements, the exact weight, and all the different features of both of these wallets so that you can really, really compare properly. But I will show you what they actually function like in real life. So let's talk about the other similarities. They both have a little zipper at the back as a little coin pouch. They both have the gunmetal hardware, and they both have gussets. So they actually do come out a little ways. It's not too tight. You can actually put a fair bit of stuff in there. There's lots of space because of that little gusset there. And this is the same. They're essentially the exact same size. I think overall, I would probably have to say, when I feel this and I use this one, everything is just a teeny bit tighter and smaller. So this doesn't feel quite as generous, even though I think it is. I think I measured it once and they're exactly the same, but I think somehow it just feels like it's just not quite as generous. This one feels like it's got a little bit more space. I could just be me. It could just be how I feel, but I think I've measured them and they're essentially identical. So the other thing that's the same between both of these two is roughly the layout and how they function inside. So you've got an ID window on the left. You've got card slots that are top loading and side loading. There's card slots on the left on both of them, and this one has card slots on the right. This one doesn't. But they both have a bill pocket, a slot in the back for all your bills and your receipts, and they are the same size. Now, again, because for some reason I feel like this one's just a little bit more snug. I don't know why, because when I feel it all, it looks the same. But when I open this wallet up, this feels just a little bit narrower and a little bit tighter than this one does. I don't know why. It's just a feeling. It could be the fabrication. It could be that maybe some of the stitching is just a little bit different enough that this feels a little bit tighter than this one. Don't really know. But even though they're identical as far as the measurements, this one feels a little tiny bit tighter. Okay, so the other thing that's similar is they both have an ID window on the left. One's a little bigger than the other, but there is an ID window with a little plastic covering there on that as well. And they both have, like I said, vertical, top entry, and side entry slots. So let's talk about the differences. The main one is the Minuet has a snap closure. doesn't have a zipper that closes the main interior, and the Handspring Mini does. So it's got a zipper that goes all the way around, and this one is just a snap. The other thing, before I forget, this actually in the Handspring Mini has a tiny little hole on the side here, because like I said, it actually comes, I guess, as part of a set with the larger handspring. The larger handspring has a little wristlet strap, which I may or may not be able to get out very easily here. So there's a little hole at the very bottom here of the handspring, the main handspring. So there's a little hole there, and there's the same hole on the Handspring Mini. So it's right there. And you can actually take any wristlet strap or the wristlet strap off of the companion handspring and thread it through that same little hole, which I'm not very good at, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, sorry, I'm doing this behind a camera and I really can't quite see. There is a way. I'm really not good at it. I know that it's possible. I can't do it. I know that you can. Anyways, in theory, you can actually put anything with a lobster hook, and I think a lot of lug bags or wallets do have a detachable one. So if you happen to have one off another bag, theoretically, you can just put it through that little hole. I've done it before. I actually have. It is not that hard. It's just I'm doing it because I'm standing on the side of the camera and I'm trying to see what I'm doing through my phone, and it's really difficult. And if I were to try to do it for real, I'd have to take it out of frame. So anyways, it does actually work. So that gives you the option to actually be able to hold your wallet with a wristlet strap. So let's go back. Oh, and the Minuet does not have a wristlet strap that you could put anywhere. And I've even looked to see, unless you can put a wristlet strap and the hook is super, super small right in there, it's not going to go. This zipper doesn't even have like a hole at the end that you can thread it through there. So if you want to use this as a wristlet, you just can't, unless you get super creative or you start actually doing some structural changes to this. But you actually could, you do have the option to thread it through that little hole on the handspring. Okay, so I just wanted to get that out before I forgot. Differences, where was I? So yes, I talked about the zipper and I talked about the snap. So the other difference is this one in the Minuet has a little slide slot at the front. This one has nothing. The only exterior pocket is that change pocket in the back with the zipper. Otherwise, there's nothing else on the outside. This is just big enough to hold like a credit card or a gift card. So if you wanted to, you could slide something through there and it's completely hidden. So there is enough space. You can put your lip balm in there or a mask or something like that, and it does go quite well in there. So that's another thing that's a little bit different. And as far as the card slots between the two, let's talk about the ID windows real quick. So the ID window on the Minuet is a little bit smaller. It's 1.5 by 1.5 inch roughly little window. This is about 1.5 this way and about 2 inches this way. So it's a larger window on the on the handspring versus the Minuet. But this one, the handspring is side loading. So if you're trying to get your ID in and out, it comes in on the side. And when it comes to the Minuet, it's top loading. So, and it also, the card sticks out a little bit more here. This one, the card is completely contained in that little slot. And this one, it sticks out here. Neither of them, however, can you actually be able to see the entire ID. So I have actually carried my Costco card in both of these, and neither of them can you just flash your card and they can scan it. I actually have to take the physical card out and have them scan it that way and put it back in. I can't just open it and have them scan it. Now this particular card, it's a loyalty card. Depending on where and what kind of card you have in that window, you might be able to scan that through. But as far as like anything that's got a barcode or letters or wording that gets covered up by anything around that border, you're going to have some trouble and you're going to have to take it out regardless. So it depends on what kind of card you want to hold there. But just for regular cards, it won't matter. If you're wanting to use it for ID or for any kind of loyalty scanny thingy, you're going to have to be careful where that thing lies in this window. So as far as the card slots go, they're about the same as far as how much it holds, but the layout is very different. The way that's organized, There's actually fewer card slots in the handspring than there are in the Minuet overall. But if you were to pack both of them up, like double up all the slots or triple or quadruple them, they do actually roughly hold about the same number of cards. They'll just be spread out a little bit differently throughout the wallet. So the Minuet has 1, 2, 3 card slots on the right, and then 2 card slots on the left, not including the one that the ID window is for. The handspring has 1, 2 card slots on the right and no card slots on the left at all, except for that ID one, but that's a horizontal. So sorry, that's a vertical. So you can actually, that's a side slot there. The Minuet has 1, 2 slots that are side entry on the left, and the handspring only has the one because the other one is the one that goes into the ID window. So technically it really only has one for anything else. And then they're the same on the right. So there's 1, 2, and there's 1, 2 there. The one on the top on both of these is a little shallower because that's where the seam goes to there. The one in the back for both of them are a tiny little bit deeper. So if you happen to have a slightly oversized card, one that's a little bit thicker, or it's got a border or whatever it is, this one will hide much more. So if you can see here, the card goes here. That's how much more room you've got this way on both of the back slots for these 2 card slots there. Okay, so as far as the cash, again, about the same size. They do hold about the same amount. I do, however, find that this one's just a little tiny bit tighter than the Minuet. And the Minuet has a teeny little bit of a hole down here. It's a little bit more obvious for the bottom. This one does as well. It's just not as obvious. So you could, if you wanted to, put your finger through there, but it's not a gaping hole the same way the other one is. It really doesn't matter unless you're holding, I don't know, seeds in there or something like that, because seeds or whatever will roll out. If you're holding beads, like if your necklace breaks or your kid's friendship bracelet comes apart, don't put it in this slot because all the beads will come flying out. They'll come rolling out for sure. Put that somewhere else. So anything other than that, if it's just paper, if it's bills, no problem. The depth is about the same for both. So you can actually keep larger bills. So if you're traveling, you're going to a country where the bills are a lot wider or whatever, taller, there's a lot of room here. So I've got a Canadian bill in there and it goes to about there. So if you go to a country where the bills are really, really fat this way, it should fit. So as long as it's not too much wider this way, you're good. They are both RFID shielded, even though I think only this one actually has the tag. I don't know where that says that in here. I think maybe in here, in the back here. But I actually haven't seen the RFID tag in the Minuet. It probably does exist somewhere, but I do know that all of Lug's wallets are RFID shielded. It just happens to be that this one doesn't seem to say so. I know that the main concern that people have between this one and the handspring is security. So the handspring, because it has that zipper that goes all the way around, I think people feel like this is a safer wallet and it will keep things a little bit more secure. Probably overall true. A little harder to get that zipper opened and really open everything up and have everything dump. This one has the snap, and theoretically, I guess that snap can come off and then open your wallet and things can come dumping out. Now, I actually use the Minuet way, way, way more often. I actually don't use the handspring very often. I maybe use it 2 or 3 times, and it was only because I really wanted something very, very, very slim and small for when I put it inside the coupe. And I just found that the days I wanted my coupe really, really packed, this one just took up a little bit more space because of that snap. This one was much more streamlined and it sort of slid in a lot better. They both, by the way, fit into the coupe because I said they're both about the same size. So I've only used that maybe a couple times when I really needed to put something like a full wallet, or rather a full type of wallet, inside a coupe. Otherwise, really, they hold about the same. So for me, I have never, ever, ever, in the 2 and a bit years that I've been using my Minuet, have ever had that snap just open randomly or have it open accidentally. It's pretty thick. Like, I'm just giving a good flick there. it doesn't really want to come off. It took a lot of flicks there, and I actually kind of increased my pressure, yeah, in order to get that open. But I've never actually put this in my bag and accidentally got stuck on something and had it flip open. It is a pretty decent snap, so I'll let you listen to it. There's no magnetic anything, it's just a snap, but it's really quite secure. The other thing that people have talked about is whether or not things will fall out. So here it is when it's closed. I'm going to dump it upside down, so that's where the card slots are there. So that's the top of it, and that's the bottom. So I'm going to give it a really good shake. I'm holding it from the side. I'm not even squeezing it. I'm going to hold it from the side here. So there, okay? And I'm going to shake it. And I'm shaking it really hard. You can hear how much noise that change is making in the change purse. Nothing's come out, okay? So when it's closed and tight, really never, ever will anything fall out. I have definitely dropped this wallet a bunch of times when it's closed. Never has anything fallen out. Never has anything opened. I have also had it opened, trying to get something, bumped something, and then the whole thing dumped onto the ground, and I never actually lost anything. So I have done the shake test with it open just to see, and if you shake it hard enough, you actually may lose a couple of things, but I've actually lost more things from bigger wallets, and you know, I had literally all of my change, all of my cash, and 90% of my cards dump onto the ground in front of the cashier. So here it is, just me tipping it upside down, gentle shake. Again, I'm holding it from the top here. I'm not holding it from the cash. This is whackly. This is completely full. There's tons of cash, tons of cards. So I'm giving it a gentle shake. I'm getting it a harder shake, giving it a harder shake. And now I'm just going to give it a really good whack. You ready? Okay, so there's my slippery card. That's my plastic card. And you can just start seeing the cash coming out there. So it's just starting to come out there. So it really took a lot of effort for me to get a fair bit of cash. And these are slippery. Just so you know, for those of you who are not Canadian, these are Canadian bills, and they're super, super slippery. They're basically plastic, and they are plastic. They're a polymer, and they're super slippery. There's very little texture to them, so they're very, very slippery bills. And I have a whole bunch of them here, and they really should have just come flying out. But they didn't. The only thing that I lost was one slippery plastic card. And part of the reason why it's kind of that way is because the actual nylon itself is kind of slippery. So if you have more, like if you have a whole bunch of them packed in here, and it's really, really tight, like you've got 3 or 4 in each slot, I really don't think you're going to lose anything, because this side's really tight. Now, these are paper, but these are super, super tight. Like, I've got about 10 business cards there, another 5 there, got 1 in there, and I've got a whole bunch in there. So this side was really tight. Nothing came out. This side's really loose because there's really only 1 business card and then 1 plastic card. So that's why that plastic card came out. And that change is still in there, and the cash is just starting to slip out. So it would take a whole lot of effort to get stuff to fall out of this wallet. Like I said, I actually have dropped it open like this many, many, many times onto the ground, and I've never lost anything. I've never had to go around chasing all my cash in the wind, because this is my market wallet. I use this for farmers markets, so that's why there's a whole bunch of cash in this one and very few cards. So these are the cards like from some of the vendors, and sometimes I exchange my card with theirs. And so I've got like a frequent buyer card for popcorn there. So I usually keep cash in this one because I usually give cash to the vendors because I want them to get all the money and not have to worry about, having credit card fees and things like that. So that's my way to try to help my farmers out. So I try to use cash. And so whenever someone gives me cash or I have change, if they pay me back in cash, I put all of my cash in here so that I've always got cash at the ready for my farmers markets. So like I said, I have been outside and dropped this thing on the ground, like on the pavement. with, you know, a handful of tomatoes or whatever it is, and nothing has ever fallen out of this wallet. So it would take a fair bit to have anything fall out of it. I've never actually tested it with this one, but like I said, I feel like this one's a little bit tighter. So I have this feeling, same thing, I have a feeling you're not going to be able to get much out. If you're hearing a weird noise, I have a cat who's sneezing back there. So if you're wondering why it sounds like someone's sneezing and not excusing themselves, that's because it's my cat. Okay, so there's that same water cache. I've got a few cards in here. Let's give this a shake test, shall we? So there's upside down. Gentle shaking. I'm gonna increase it here. And you can just start seeing the cache just poking out here. Giving it a really good shake. So still nothing. So again, just a tiny little peekaboo from my cache there. So this, like I said, wallet is a little bit tighter. If you're really concerned about stuff dumping out of it, I guess this one has a little tiny bit of a tighter feel to it. So less is going to come flying out of this one. But I've never had anything come out of this one either. So I think they're both really secure. If you like a zipper because you feel better about it, or you like having a zipper, go with the mini handspring. If you don't really think that's going to be a big deal, or you like the style of the little snap and you like the shape of it overall, which I do, go with the Minuet. But really, you can't go wrong. They're both really good wallets. They're very equal in many ways, and there's just a couple of little differences. So depending on what kind of card you're going to carry in the ID slot, or whether you've got a lot of cards that you want to really organize and see. If you want more organization, go with the Minuet. If you want a little bit more security because you think maybe the zipper is better, go with the handspring. If you like more card slots and you like to see where all your cards are, the Minuet's the way to go because you actually have more slots in general and you can see more of them. If you want a slightly larger ID window, then you can go with the mini handspring. And if you think that having a little spot where you can maybe put your wristlet strap, go with the handspring. But really, you know what? They're so equal. The Minuet actually has a few more really cool colors and prints. The handspring, it's been a long time. It's been out for over a year, and they haven't released anything new just yet. This is 2021, and in 2021, maybe in the future they will, but right now they haven't. These so far have all been solids, and these have all been different prints and solids and all that stuff. So if you're more into prints, the Minuet. If you're more into solids, the Handspring Mini. I hope that helps anybody who's been trying to figure out which wallet to use and what the differences are between the two. I know it's really hard to see when you're looking on the website or on Lug Live, so I hope that helps you figure it out. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. I will do my best to answer them for you. I actually have most of Lug's wallets. I kind of seem to have all their wallets. So if you have any questions about any of the wallets, please leave them below. I will do my best to answer them. Hope that was helpful. Stay tuned for the fact sheets at the end. And let me know what you think if you have these wallets. That's it for now. Take care so much. Thank you so much and have a great one.